On your study guide, please put your work on a separate paper, and this is how I want you to do your test. To put your work here, I recommend actually writing the problem out because you won't be able to write on your test. To copy the problem here, do your work, and then you're going to put your answer right here. And you got to number your answers, and you're going to have just an answer column for this test. So these first three problems say simplify. You're combining like terms. So we have an x here, and it says plus 7x here. So remember, this is really just 1x. If you want to put a 1 there to help, you can do that. So 1 plus 7 would be 8x. And then we have, this is a negative 5 plus 4. So negative 5 plus 4 would be negative 1. So the answer then, 8x minus 1. Those are unlike terms, so we are done with that problem. So again, copy down each problem. So in number 2, look for all your like terms. So I start in the front one. Here's n, and I look for n, and here we go. So 7n minus 7. 7 minus 7 is 0, so those n's are gone. Don't even write them down. And then I have 4k here, and here's minus 2k. So 4 minus 2 would be 2k. And then I'm left with just this minus 4. So I put that minus 4 here, and that's my answer for number 2. 2k minus 4. So I'm showing my work. All the answers are organized right here. This is how I want you to do your test as well. Number 3 here, you'll see the parentheses, but these are unlike terms, so I can't do anything inside the parentheses since that has an x and that doesn't. So you take this 4, and that's distributive property. You're going to take 4 times this and 4 times this. Before I do, though, I see I'm not doing anything with this negative 3x, so I write that down first, because that goes in front. Keep it in front. Positive 4 times negative 2 is negative 8x, because that has an x. And then this is positive 4 times negative 5. Positive times a negative is a negative. 4 times 5 is 20. And then are there any like terms we can combine? Yep, right here. Negative 3 minus 8. So 8, 9, 10, 11. That would be negative 11x minus 20 for that answer. And I write that over here. You don't need to skip lines in these answers unless you write really big. Maybe it needs a spaced out if you write bigger than that. Okay, and the rest of these problems are solving equations. Well, almost the rest of them. So again, I do my little shing, find the x. I see that it says plus 5. So we do the opposite of plus 5, which is subtract 5. 5 minus 5 is 0. So I have just an x here. Bring down the equal sign. And 12 minus 5 is 7. So over here you want to write x equals 7. And you can check that 7 plus 5 equals 12. Okay, so here we have x minus 7. So to do opposite of minus 7, we're going to add 7. And we do that to both sides so that those cancel, leaving me with x. 7 plus 2 is 9. So x equals 9 for number 5. Alright, number 6, I do my little shing. This one you'll notice the x is on the other side over here. So what's happening is x, it's plus, but this is a negative 30. To get rid of negative 30, we're going to add 30. Because negative 30 plus 30 is 0. What we do to one side, we must do to the other side. So I have my x over here. It doesn't matter which side you put it on. And negative 70 plus 30 is actually going to be negative 40, because the signs are different. And then on your answer, I'm going to just put x equals negative 40. But you can put negative 40 equals x as well. The order doesn't matter. Alright, do my little shing for number 7. What's happening to x? Remember, if there's no sign at all, that means multiplication. Negative 4 times x. Opposite of multiply is divide by negative 4. So this is my division bar. We divide by negative 4 on both sides. Make sure to divide by the same sign. So that's my bam bam rule. Those cancel, leaving just x here. A negative divided by negative is a positive. 16 divided by 4 is 4. Number 8, there's a couple ways to solve. I told you guys a trick about you can change the sign as long as you do for everything. So I can make this a positive x and then change this to a negative, and that now I know x is negative 17. The other way you can think about it is that when I had a negative x here, that really means I have a negative 1. Negative 1 times x, and you can divide by negative 1 on both sides to get x equals negative 17. Yep. So you can choose either of those methods. You can change the sign to everything, or divide by negative 1 to get rid of negatives there. So we get that x equals negative 17 for number 8. I ran out of room on my paper, so you can flip to the back, but I have room here that I'm just going to make a second column here, and that works. It saves paper. So I go shing, I find my x. It says times 25, so I divide by 25 on both sides. On this one, you want to show your work. You try to do it in your head, you're probably going to do it wrong. So here I have x equals, most students are going to tell me negative 5, but that's not true. 5 divided by 25, that's going to be a fraction, negative 5 over 25. And we can reduce that. So I'm going to keep going. I know 5 goes into both of those, right? So 5 divided by 5 is negative 1. 25 divided by 5 is 5. So that fraction reduces to negative 1/5. X equals negative 1/5. You write your fractions with the sideways slant or just straight up and down. It doesn't matter. Alright, number 10, I do my little shing. Here's x, and this is x divided by 5. Remember, that's division. Opposite of division is multiplication. So you multiply by 5 on both sides. So these cancel, leaving me with x. Negative 8 times 5 is negative 40. So remember, that's division. Opposite of that, multiply on both sides. Okay, here's our first problem with a fraction. I go shing. And then when you have x times a fraction, that's when you multiply by the reciprocal. So you multiply by the reciprocal on both sides. That means we flip it. So when we flip it, we go bam, 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 bam. Those all cancel out. And then here to solve this, you can put 10 over 1, make it a fraction. And you multiply. 10 times 3 is 30. 1 times 2 is 2. And reduce that. What is 30 divided by 2? It's 15. So number 11, x equals 15. Okay, from now on we're doing two-step equations, so steps are the same. I do shing. I find my x. I see that's multiplied and subtraction. We get rid of the addition subtraction first. So I undo subtraction by adding 12 to both sides. Do opposite of the order of operations. These cancel. I have 7x equals. I add these to get 44. And then you divide x times 7, so I divide by 7. And do that to both sides, so these cancel. Let's see, 44 divided by 7. Does 7 go into 44? Well, 7 times 7 is 49. 7 times 6 is 42, so nope. And it can't be reduced. Remember, reduce them if you can. But that one's just a funky fraction. We can't reduce it. You don't have to change it to a mixed number or anything. You just leave it as a fraction like that. 13, here we go. We go shink. And here's x, so let's get rid of the plus 21 by subtracting 21 on both sides. Those cancel. And 11 minus 21 is going to be negative 10. And I see this is negative 2 times x, so I divide by negative 2 on both sides to undo the multiplication. Those cancel. Bam, bam. 10 divided by 2 is 5, and a negative divided by negative is a positive. Let's see, that one I'm not so sure I did right. I'm going to check it. Remember, we can always check. So I got 5. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. And negative 10 plus 21 would be positive 11. So there we go. I checked that one just to be sure. Now I'm going to flip my paper over. I'm out of room. Okay, on the back side, sorry, my pens bleed through a little, so it's a little messy looking. Alright, shing, here we go. What's happening to the x? It's divided by 4 minus 20. So let's get rid of subtraction first. Add 20 to both sides. Those equal 0. I'm left with x over 4 on this. And then negative 24 plus 20 would be negative 4. Okay, remember this is division. So undo division. I multiply by 4 on both sides. Those cancel. 4 times 4 is 16. And negative times a positive is a negative. Now don't put the answer here. I actually want you to turn the paper over and keep going in your column. So number 14, just continue this. It makes it really easy to grade. So 14, x equals negative 16. Okay, just keep that column like that. Okay, 15, I'm going to go shink. I see what's happening to my x here. Let's get rid of the minus 6 by adding 6 to both sides. Cancel those out. X over negative 2 equals 1 plus 6 is 7. And then we do our multiplication step. Since this is division, multiply by negative 2 on both sides. Those cancel. 7 times negative 2 is negative 14. Alright, flip it over. There we go. And we're going to go shink. Find the x. There's a fraction in front and plus 14, so let's undo the addition by subtracting 14 on both sides. That equals 0. So 1/3 x equals, let's see, 4 minus 14, negative 10. Alright, how do I get rid of fraction? Multiply by the reciprocal. So times 3 over 1, times 3 over 1. Bam, 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 bam. Those are gone. Here, let's go to make the negative 10 into a fraction and put it over 1. And multiply straight across. Negative 10 times 3 is negative 30. 1 times 1 is 1. Don't leave it like that. Reduce and simplify. Negative 30 divided by 1 is just negative 30. So 16, x is negative 30. Alright, another fraction two-step equation. I go shink. Here's my x. I got the fraction and then minus 2. So let's do addition first to undo our subtraction. Because negative 2 plus 2 is 0. I'm left with the negative 5/3 x equals 8 plus 2 is 10. So let's get rid of that fraction. Multiply by the reciprocal. So I flip it. It's negative, so make a number negative. Doesn't matter which. And I multiply by the same thing on this side. There we go. So these negative 5's, bam, bam. These 3's, bam, bam. I'm left with x equals, make this over 1. So 10 times 3 is 30 again. 1 times negative 5 is negative 5. Okay, keep reducing. 30 divided by negative 5. So 30 divided by 5 is 6. And a positive divided by negative is a negative. So it would be negative 6. Alright, 17, x equals negative 6. Now on 18 and 19 is story problems, so be sure to read the directions. 18, we just have to write an equation. So we're just going to write an equation. And 19, we have to write an equation and we have to solve. And don't forget units since it's a story problem, so be careful of that. Alright. Okay, so here we have Cody has a gift card and he's going to buy video games. And he ends up with a balance of $20 afterwards. So he starts with a balance of $195. And then we're going to subtract all the purchases of video games, whatever that's going to be. And at the ending balance, he's going to have 20. So it's going to equal 20 at the end. So what do we subtract? Well, the video games are $25 each. I don't know how many he purchased, but it'd be 25 times each game. So you can maybe do a letter G for video games, or a V, or an X. You can choose anything for your variable. But think about your equation and see if it makes sense. So he has $195 minus 25 for each game. So the number of games times 25, and then it equals 20. You don't have to solve it, you just have to write it. So I was able to fit that on number 18 right there. If you need more room, you could have started the number over here to give you more space if you need. Okay, we're going to write and solve. So Kayla gets a gift card of $60 from her parents and decides to save it. Each week she adds $3. So how many weeks will it take her to save 87? So she started with $60 and she's adding $3 per week. So every week that she does, I'm going to maybe say W. And at the end, it's 87. So how many weeks does that take? We're going to solve the equation. So we have our normal two-step equation. Find the 60. It's positive, so I subtract 60 from both sides, leaving me a 3W equals 27. And then this is 3 times W, so you divide by 3 on both sides. So W equals 9. Don't forget your units. It's 9 weeks is how long it takes. Two-part question. Make sure you have 2 answers. So here's my equation, and here's the answer. It took 9 weeks, and you can check. You can plug 9 in, make sure that it works out. So have all your answers here and labeled. Thanks. Good luck, everyone.